Hi everyone, this is Ms. Puzio, your Grade 3 HMH Interreading Virtual Content Specialist. We are in Module 7, Make a Difference, and we are in Lesson 12. The focused question of this module is how can one person make a meaningful difference in their local or global community? So this is going to be a teacher-facing video, and we're going to be focusing on showing you a strategy to support students who are struggling with notice and note signposts, specifically the aha moment. Sometimes they are, easy to figure out, and sometimes it's, involves a little bit more deeper inferencing, and some students tend to have some difficulty making those inferences and pulling out those signposts and noticing them. So I'm just going to show you a strategy, and you can really apply it to any ELA skill, but this strategy specifically helps with the aha moment and other signposts, but we're going to focus on the aha moment. And also for this lesson, I made a student-facing video that reviews the critical vocabulary and supports the students with the vocabulary for this story that we're going to be reading with them. So the notice and note signpost for this story, for the storyteller's candle, is the aha moment, which is when a character realizes something and it changes something for them in the story. They make a realization. And sometimes there's keywords such as suddenly or I discovered or all of a sudden, but those keywords aren't always there. And sometimes it involves a little teacher guidance for students to kind of pick out those moments. So I'm just going to show you a strategy that I use to help support students who are struggling. So you can use this whole group, or you can use this with small group instruction, whichever you think is best. So you can use it on Google Docs, you can use it on Google Slides. I'm just going to use Jamboard for this purpose, so that way it becomes a collaborative document. So I already have the story open, and I have it open to the pages where the aha moment is in the Teaching Pal. So you'll notice here in the Teaching Pal, it shows the aha moment in the story, and it reminds you what to tell students and explains to them, what aha moment they should be focusing on. So not every student is going to recognize this on their own, so this is just going to support them a little bit. So over here, I have a Jamboard open, and I'm going to show you the template. So the strategy I use to help support students with signposts is something called Say, Mean, Matter. And what it is, it's also known as 3 questions, but you might know it as Say, Mean, Matter, and it helps students question the text, search for deeper meanings, and make connections between the text and even their lives. And it's really effective for students of all levels and all language learners, so it really provides access to everyone. So you as the teacher, you're going to purposely pick out the quotes or the parts of the text that you want the students to focus on that are going to guide them into being able to realize that aha moment, especially the students who aren't effectively grasping the aha moment on their own. So I've already pulled out the first quote that I specifically want students to focus on, which is, "We don't speak English, and the people in there don't speak Spanish. And so it was that they never went inside." So at this point, you've read most of the story and you're retelling it with the students. So that's what the text says. We literally have a text from the passage. Okay? And then over here, we have mean and matter. So we're going to discuss with students and kind of have a conversation about what does this quote mean. So we're going to have a discussion as a class about what this quote means, and then why does it matter? Why is this quote important? So even if students are struggling with that, at least we're going to have, a group setting or a whole class setting where the kids can build off of each other's ideas. And from there, they're not really focusing on, is this an aha moment? Is this another notice and note signpost? They're just focusing on a quote, what it means, and why it matters. So some possible answers you might get, it means that they feel, it means they feel different than the people in the library. That might be one thing a student says. What does it mean? It means they feel different than the people in the library. That might be a sample. And then why does this matter to the story? Why is this an important quote to the story? So after some student collaboration, you might guide them to, to some discussion that might gear them to what you want them to understand about it. And a sample thing, the students might say why this matters. They do not feel welcomed in the library because of their language. And this is just some samples that you might get. So this is getting students to really think about the text, and this is the problem that the characters in the story are facing. Right now, their language, them not feeling welcomed in the library, is making them feel a certain way. So then I would go to the next quote that you want them to focus on, and quickly I would just click those dots here and click duplicate. And that way you don't have to go retyping everything. And I'm just going to delete these. And I'm going to pick out another important quote that I feel I would want students to focus on that's going to lead them to understanding the aha moment. So the next quote I would want them to focus on, so now we have them focusing on the problem in the story, which is going to lead them to the realization. And then it would be line 20 here. The library is for everyone. La biblioteca es para todos, she said. So I would just copy and paste that from the teaching pal. And I would paste that there. And then you would get, elicit some student responses. What does this mean? Everyone is welcome in the library. And then you can get some student responses. Why does this matter? This matters because at first they thought only English-speaking people could go in there. And that can lead students into, understanding the aha moment about how does this change things. And this is just some sample student responses. And then one more quote that I would put even before this one, since this is toward the, the later part of the aha moment. I'm just going to duplicate this. And then one more quote I would have them focus on for say, mean, matter would be this one here. Is Titi, they speak Spanish at the library. Library, Hildemar shouted. So yeah, I'd actually stay in this order since it goes in order from the beginning to the end. So then I would discuss with students, what does this quote mean? And some students might say, this quote means they speak both languages in the library. And then why does it matter? And you might get some students to say, this matters because at first they thought they could not go in because they assumed no one spoke Spanish in there. So this is just a really good protocol to help students think about a quote or an excerpt from the text, then think about what it means. So there you have a little couple, some more deep inferencing skills, and then further think about why it matters. So then they can move on to the aha moment. So then you can move them to thinking about, okay, what did the characters realize? What is this realization? And how does this change things for them? And then they can name the signpost. Oh, this is their aha moment. So sometimes naming a skill or a signpost or for the students right away and then just telling them what it is, that doesn't always help them retain the understanding. So engaging them in an activity like this will help them make more sense of the text.